We've always had an org chart. It definitely has evolved over time. I think, a company that's growing this quickly um, in a complex industry with a complex business model, you're always sort of reevaluating whether you have the right structure. And I think it's natural for a company to evolve the org structure over time. So, we've definitely given ourselves the flexibility to evolve and change the org depending on what's most important and what we're trying to accomplish. But to directly answer your question, we've always had an org structure. We've always tried to make it very visible to our employees so they understand where they fit in. Part of our orientation is walking through the org chart, talking about the different divisions, what they're responsible for, how they play a role in the customer journey, who the leaders are of those respective divisions. And we think that just helps give folks context so they understand how their role fits into the bigger picture. We've paid an enormous amount of attention to company culture. I'm a firm believer that an engaged workforce is a high performing workforce. So early on, I rejoined to the company right as COVID was sort of tightening its grip on the country, and so I actually joined the day that we went virtual and became a distributed team. And so there's a huge emphasis on communication out of the gate. We really surveyed folks regularly to make sure that they were getting the right types of communication from leaders, from their managers, from their peers, from their peer groups. We pretty early on hired a head of internal communications, and that has proven to be one of the best hires we've made. She has really helped us just rethink the channels and frequency of our communication. So we've totally revised the way that we think about all staff. It's much more structured and intentional. We've created different channels for different types of communications. We've made our leaders more visible, which has been very important in a distributed model. It's helped us to stay connected and avoid silos. So just being very intentional and making sure that you're hitting all the right messages, repeating them through multiple channels has been really important for us. But also making sure that we're listening to our employees has been really critical. We do a pulse survey through our engagement tool Lattice, where every employee will receive 4 survey questions out of a bank of 24 every week. And then we report out on those pulse survey results every 2 weeks in our company update brief. So we're able to see the delta in certain categories from every 2-week period. And we're able to make decisions as leaders based on what we're seeing in that data. We also added upward feedback as part of our performance review process this cycle. So, in most performance reviews, it's the manager, giving feedback to the employee on what they're doing well and what they need to work on. And we wanted to make sure our managers had an opportunity to receive feedback as well. Feedback is a gift, and it's critical for growth. So we added that element this cycle. And we also started standing up employee resource groups, and that has been a great source of feedback for us as well. So the first ERG was the Women of Olive employee resource group. As a people team, we've had a really great partnership with them. They've given us some feedback that we've taken action on, and I think that cycle of asking for feedback, showing that you're listening and you heard that feedback, presenting a plan to act on that feedback, and then following up on it and communicating what you've done just drives engagement and is really critical for a healthy culture. So I guess to summarize, what we've learned is to be really intentional and to communicate as many times in as many ways as possible to make sure that you're listening and you're acting on that feedback that you're getting from your employees. And then one thing I think is really critical. It's a lesson learned for us is, the earlier you can organize your information architecture, the better. In a fast growing company, information can become really chaotic and overwhelming if you're not intentional about it. There's information in Slack and Gmail and Docs and Coda and Confluence and everywhere. And it makes it really tough, especially for new employees, which most of our employees are. So we're going through an exercise to organize our information architecture better to make it more accessible for folks. It's much easier to do that earlier on than to do it later. So that is definitely one piece of advice that I would offer. I think communication certainly, feeds into that. We have a monthly all staff. We have biweekly company update brief. Sean, our CEO, does regular videos where he'll just spend 10 minutes talking about what he's been working on, what's important to the company, what he's thinking about. We also implemented an OKR model last year. So we have company level annual objectives. We have key results that ladder up to those objectives at the company level. And then that cascades down to the divisions. So each of the divisions also has key results. The subdivisions within those organizations have their key results. And then it cascades all the way down to individuals who have goals that should ladder all the way up to the things that are most important to the company. So by having those North Star objectives, it helps people see that what they are doing is important to the things that are most important to the company. I think having a really clear purpose, mission, vision, and values help people make good decisions as well, and again align to the things that are important to the company, and also make sure that you're operating in a way that that the company has agreed to operate within. It's without a doubt a challenge, right? We've gone from 200 to 900 in the past 16 months or so, and we're bringing on many more people over the next several months. So one of the things that we did really early on is invest in just an incredible human being in Chase McCants, who's our Senior Director of Development and Engagement. Right out of the gate, he took our 1 hour, 10 slide PowerPoint deck orientation and transformed it into a 2-day fully immersive orientation experience. So that really helps to get new hires off on the right foot, especially new hires that are being onboarded virtually. We are a fully distributed team. We've adopted the grid, which allows our folks to work from wherever they feel they can be most effective. And that could be our headquarters here in Columbus, the hub. It could be a substation, one of 6 satellite offices throughout the country, or it could be on a beach or in a cabin somewhere or at somebody's house. So there's lots of different options for people in terms of where they work, but it definitely makes orientation and onboarding new employees a challenge. So Chase has done a really tremendous job with that. What we're working on next is kind of the lead into Chase, having a really world-class kind of pre-employment experience so that folks have all the information they need heading into day one. And then that day 3 and beyond experience, the team-specific onboarding. What do I need to know about my division and my leaders and how we interact with the other parts of the business, and what are the mission, vision, and purpose for my division within Olive. So that's something that we're focused on here over the next couple of months. Initially, there were 2 ways that a substation could come about. It could be, we wanted to be close to a specific customer or customers, or there were leaders in a city that we wanted to build around, or we just wanted to have access to top tech talent. We're hiring a lot of people, specifically R&D talent, engineers, and so having a physical presence in these cities is an accelerant for hiring in those areas. We also said from day one, if there are 10 plus Olivians who are co-located in a city and they want a substation and they feel like they'll use it semi-regularly, then we'll stand it up for them. And so, it's been a combination of those two paths to the creation of our substations. And in some cases, it's, both of those reasons have converged, and that makes it really easy. But we've largely followed kind of the energy and the passion and the momentum of our employees. So typically what will happen is, you'll hire a few, very well-connected people in a city, and, they're going to refer their network in, and they're going to want a substation. So they're going to try to grow that location as quickly as they can. And they're usually the ones kind of banging on our door saying, hey, we're at 8 or 9 employees now. We're going to have 12 or 15 before you know it. Can we start having the conversation around standing up a substation? And we have. So as I mentioned, we have 6 substations now, another one coming very soon, and no end in sight to us continuing to add more locations.